Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, it sounds a bit shit to say, but like like Lynn said, we've become so tight as a unit now, the three of us. Like we are. If you see us live now, we're a different beast altogether. This is the best we have ever been.
Hey, what's up, Vox&Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast, brought to you by Sound Telemedia and Evergreen Podcasts, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians, talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. We've had a killer week so far. This Vox&Hops episode is presented by Heavy Montreal. Heavy Montreal are Montreal's premier metal promoter. They put on a bunch of killer gigs all year long. Coming up this week, they have a monstrous thrash event featuring Testament, Exodus, and Death Angel. If you would like to get your tickets to this awesome event here in Montreal, head on over to heavymontreal.com. I have put that link in the description of this podcast. I am beyond stoked to have Heavy Montreal behind the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I'd just like to ask you to follow the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. And I would like to make a little announcement. I'm very stoked to announce that the 4-year anniversary party for the Vox&Hops Metal Podcast will be taking place on October 29th at Turbo House. This is a massive event. I'm so stoked. I'm going to be conducting a live interview, a head-to-head discussion between Sébastien Croteau, the extreme vocal expert, and Pascal Germain Berardi, the professional classical vocalist. Extreme metal versus classical vocals. It's going to be such a blast. This event starts at 8 p.m. The live podcast between Sébastien and Pascal will be starting around 9 p.m. And then we will have a very special performance by one of my favorite Montreal-based bands, The Great Sabatini, will be performing. It's going to be a night full of life, metal, and craft beer. I can't wait to be there. Come hang out with me to celebrate the 4-year anniversary of Vox&Hops. Once again, that event is happening on October 29th at Turbo House. Saturday night party fun. Let's do it, people. Now, today on the podcast, I'm very stoked to be back with Lynn Jeffs and Jason Evans of Ingested. Get ready, everyone. This is Vox&Hops episode number 366.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I am back with Jason Evans and Lynn Jeffs of Ingested. Boys, it's been a long-ass time. They've kept us
way
apart.
too long.
I don't like this. How are you guys doing?
We're good, man.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Keeping
really
busy.
good.
Keeping busy. How are you?
I'm good. Busy as well. You guys are back doing what you're supposed to be doing. You, before the pandemic, all quit your jobs to, do a band full time. And then, the world stepped in and made that a problem. So talk to me about those years. Those years, plural, the shitty years. How did you guys cope with 2020, 2021? You were supposed to be a full-time touring band, but someone said no.
Well, prior to the pandemic coming to fruition, we had about 3 months of touring back to back, along with recording Where Only Gods May Tread in the middle of that in December. We were on tour in Europe with Decapitated, Beyond Creation, who are some of your guys from Canada, Lorna Shore, Viscera.
Yes.
That was a month-long tour. We did a week in Europe. We came back to the UK to do the UK leg, played one show in London, and then Trump had closed all the borders, or was about to close all the borders, which had meant that Lorna Shore were planning to fly home. The same thing was happening in Spain for me, so I had to fly home as well. So that was that. No one really knew what was going on, as was replete across the society, really. And then for that time, we obviously had the album to be released. We delayed the album release because it was supposed to be released in June of 2020. And then we postponed it to August because fucking all shit was just up in the air, basically. And we were like, let's just delay it as long as we fucking can, just to see if anything gets better. Obviously, it didn't. So during that time, we obviously had a huge debt to pay because we had a month's worth of merch to sell for that tour, which we only sold a week's worth of. So we had like thousands and thousands of pounds to pay off, which we paid off throughout the pandemic, which was difficult. But thankfully, and it wasn't just our fans, but I think the metal community in general, I think, all pulled together and just started supporting all the bands as well as they could. And our online sales went up as did everybody's, and it really helped us get through, to be quite honest. But during that time, we planned as much as we can, as much as we could for the world to reopen, which is why we're kind of flat out right now. All the things that we're doing now have been in motion for that whole 18-month or 24-month period. So here we are now.
Hell yes, always planning Ingested. I like that. Always on top of the game, knowing what's going on. It comes from years of doing it, though. And you guys put a lot of work into that. So just putting pause and then having you guys come back at full tilt is exactly what I would expect from
Comes from
Ingested.
years of making mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Jason? How was those years when you're, the Slam King had to sit down off of his throne a little bit?
Yeah.
That's tough on the ego, first off.
Yeah, I mean, it was really tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say that it wasn't tough, because it was really tough. It was tough financially, like Lynn said. It was tough. It was tough mentally as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it's like you're stuck in your fucking house and you can't do shit. So, I mean, in that time we managed to write and record another album as well. So, which is the album that'll be coming out later this year. And so we did kind of stay busy. I started streaming as well, which was really fun, and it gave me another way to connect to like our fans as well. Yeah. So yeah, I just kind of did that. But I mean, other than that, it was dad mode, wasn't it?
We got to spend a lot of time with our children, which was a blessing. And it's nice to do the yin and yang, which is nice to be there and then not be there. But we were there a lot, right?
Yeah, we were there a lot.
we loved them very, very much. As you
more
all
than anything.
Very Vox&Hops is all about hanging out with my metal friends, talking about their lives and music while sharing a craft beer. What beers are you guys sipping on today that we're going to be sharing virtually?
During the pandemic, we got our shit together as well, so neither of us drink anymore.
No way! Congrats! That's amazing.
I've not had a drink in 2 years, but what's getting me through is these 0% beers in Spain.
Amazing.
These are lifesavers. I'm on an Ambar 00, which is from Zaragoza, which is in the northish of Spain.
That is amazing. Congrats, boys. I makes me very happy because you guys partied hard. So it's
we did.
You partied enough for your whole life, which is
we platinumed that. We completed it. So now we're completing sobriety.
We are way better these days.
I will
we do play better.
Drink for all three of us then.
Yes.
What you want?
This is
let us live vicariously through you.
I will right now. A huge shout out to Thomas from At the Gates and Dave Woody from Municipal Waste for hooking me up with this beer. This is Wake Brewing. It's the brand new collab that they made for At the Gates, The Flames of the End. It's an 8.2% double IPA with Cloudberries. Stoked to try this with you guys.
8.2%, I would be smashed. After not having a drink for 2 years, I'd be steaming after that.
I'd be crying in the corner. Or trying to open a fence that isn't a gate.
I'm gonna put this out. I had it written right here. Typically, I ask people when they come back on what their beer evolution is. So your evolution is a de-evolution, which is interesting. Take me to those days of when you, because I know Lynn, you were always off and on a little bit. Even
I tried.
Before the pandemic hit. Talk to me about taking that decision of just stopping.
I think prior to the pandemic, I think I kind of was starting to understand that I probably had a problem, to be quite honest. And especially like touring so much, it's easy to, the lifestyle is what it is. Yeah. It really is. But it was a struggle, I made the decision to stop, but it took me probably 3 or 4 times to actually commit to it. And it was only during the pandemic where the first few months of the pandemic, I started drinking heavily again. And I got to a point where I was just like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I really can't. I was just really unhealthy, really unfit, really depressed. And I just made the decision, I've just had enough. But I needed something to fill the void because I've got quite an addictive personality. Obviously drumming is one thing, which obviously helps. But I needed something that was more extreme. So I took up road cycling. Now I cycle. I was
going to mention that you bike a lot, long distances in the mountains of Spain. It's amazing.
Yeah, I started last year in probably April, something like that, and I've did 7,000 kilometers last year.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this year I've done about 2,000, but I'm touring a lot more.
You're
so
touring,
it's kind of hard. It's pretty difficult actually going on tour and then starting from zero again every time you come off tour and then trying to get back up to a certain fitness
like
level.
Excuses to me, but I don't know.
It is excuses. It totally is. I'm just a fat bastard. I love eating.
I'm teasing you. That's amazing. All the power to you. That's very, very cool that you're doing that. How about you,
Thank you.
Jason? At what point was it like? Because you were intense. I'll be frank and I'll be honest right now. I'm not going to bring up any things that I have seen with you.
Yeah.
If you were in, you were all in, and
All
there
in.
was no off button sometimes.
No. Yeah, basically that. It's because of that. Like, so like Lynn said, he's got a very addictive personality, whereas I feel like in that regard I'm very similar. I'm very all or nothing. Like, so if I'm drinking, I'm fucking drinking, like, and I'm gonna drink all of it, right? So yeah, it just got to a point where it was like, do you know what I mean? I was behaving like an arsehole. I was shit faced all the time. It was like, and it was leaking into like my home life as well. So it's like I'd be drinking for like fucking five weeks straight on tour, and it's not like oh, have a drink after the show. It's fucking wake up, get to the venue. Oh, right, I'm bored now. Let's have some fucking tinnies. Start drinking all through the night. There was so like there was a fucking show. I think it was in like fucking somewhere in New York or somewhere, and I was fucking arseholed. I was arseholed on stage, and it was just a mess. Like, and it's just yeah, do you know what I mean? And it's like it's just not good, man. It's not professional. It's not like good for our fans. It's not good for the band. It's not good for me. It's not good for people around me as well. Like I'm out of control when I drink. Like I'm literally out of control. So and again, it was affecting me mentally as well. Like I was like fucking well depressed and shit. And yeah, I was like, nah, fuck this. Like I can't continue to be in a band that's full time, that this is my job, this is my career. And it's not just that, this is something that we've spent 16 years building. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to shit all over that because of drinking. Like, do you know what I mean? And drugs as well. Like I was fucking doing drugs as well and shit. Like, so I fucked that off, fucked the alcohol off. And then this year, so the only thing I had left was smoking weed, right? Which all right, again, all or nothing. I fucking wake up in the morning, start smoking weed, and I'd smoke weed all day until I passed out at night, right? Which isn't harming anyone. Do you know what I mean? It weren't harming anyone. I was just stoned all day, like whatever. But then basically it turns out that I've got this really rare condition called cannabinoid hyperemesis that I've developed through smoking too much weed over. Well, I started smoking weed when I was like 15 and I'm 35 now. So 20 years of smoking weed.
But what is that condition? What does that give you?
Cannabinoid hyperemesis, from what the doctor told me, is basically, so you know THC in cannabis, how that has a calming effect on like nausea and it settles your stomach and stuff like that. Well, basically what's happening inside my body now is, because I've developed this condition, is it does the absolute opposite of that.
Really?
So what happens is I had these weird bouts of being violently sick, and it would be like every 10-15 minutes on the dot, like, and it would not stop. And this would go on for like until I go to the hospital. Basically, the longest it ever went on for was 7 days.
Wow, that's horrible.
And it's like every 10 minutes, and I'd be waking up vomiting, and then eventually it gets to the point where I was vomiting blood because there's nothing there.
Which is horrible for your vocals, obviously, and your health.
Yeah, obviously. And then I had to fucking go to hospital, and then they'd have to give me like this intravenous anti-sickness because they couldn't give me tablets because I couldn't keep them down.
Jesus.
And then eventually that would sort it out. But the funny thing is, I got fucking misdiagnosed for a year. So I had it for like a year and got misdiagnosed because I went to this hospital in Stockport where I live, and they diagnosed me with gastritis, which is like a dietary condition. So I changed my diet and I was like eating basically fucking vegan for a whole year, but it kept happening because I was smoking weed because I didn't know it was that. And then, when we went, so I went over to fucking Mallorca to record vocals for the new album, and I did like half a day's tracking, and then bang, fucking bout of this fucking sickness, and I couldn't record, and I had to wait a few weeks and record it at home. How mad's that?
Fucking
But then
horrible,
eventually
man.
it happened again. And then the missus was like, right, fuck this. Like, I'm not fucking waiting around for you to be fucking vomiting blood and shit. Like, we're not doing this. As soon as it started, she just took me to a hospital in Manchester,
Mhm.
in the city centre of Manchester. Fucking gets there. And and the doctor goes, first thing he asked me was, do you smoke weed? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, how much weed do you smoke? And I was like, all of it. I was like, all of it. However much you think, it's probably more than that. And he was like, yeah, read this. And he gave me this leaflet and I read it and I was like, oh no.
Every
I
check,
was
every
like,
check was
every
there.
single thing. I was like, this is exactly it. This is exactly it. And he was like, look, you are really, really unlucky that you've got this, because he said it only occurs in heavy cannabis users, and it's even rare then.
Wow.
Apparently they didn't even know about it until 2010 or something. They didn't know that it was a thing. And then he was just basically like, look, if you stop smoking weed right now, it will never happen again. But if you carry on, it might get to the point where it can't be reversed.
Oof.
I was like, okay,
I'm done.
looks like my brother's gonna get a nice little present this eve. So I stopped, and then it's not happened since.
Holy shit.
So
So no more drinking.
So no more drinking. So now
No more weed.
I have pretend beers, and I have a CBD vape, and I just pretend to have a good time.
I was about to ask you what is your new vice? Lynn's got the cycling.
Cycling.
Oh
What
no!
do you got?
I can tell you what my new vice is. It's mega nerdy. Dungeons and Dragons.
That's amazing. No,
And
that's cool.
Warhammer.
I think it's cool. That's what's going to be happening
Space
backstage.
Marines all day.
That's going to be happening backstage. Now get ready, people. You think there's a big party backstage? There is. There's a cycle.
There is.
And there's Dungeons and Dragons going on.
There's me sat on the floor rolling dice, and Lynn's just cycling in a circle around me.
Massive cheers to you both for taking your lives into your hands and out of the hands of your addictions. It's amazing. I'm so proud of you both. This Wake Brewing is, I have to talk about it. It's delicious. It's a little bit sweet, not too sweet, not too boozy. Very, very, very killer. Wake, of course. The brothers, they're the best. I would love to hear about, let's talk about Ashes Lie Still. Let's jump straight into it. November 4th is coming. First Metal Blade, right? Am I crazy? Or did...
No, that's correct.
First Metal Blade. Stepping away from Unique Leader would start. Let's talk. I like to ask the spicy questions. How does that relationship? You build a whole relationship, and I know I've had Jamie on before that runs Unique Leaders. You guys were basically like their staple champion band. What is it like for a label to not re-sign and to have you guys jump to a bigger thing? Is it something that you thought about? Is there like a thing about I have commitment? It's not the right word. Of staying loyal to a label. Is that something that ever occurred to you, or just jumping up to Metal Blade because it's a bigger platform made sense to you guys?
I think we always wanted to sign with Metal Blade. Like we've always said that since the beginning. Like whenever anyone says like, oh, what's like your dream label? Metal Blade was always up there. It was always up there. And like our relationship with Unique Leaders still fine. Like it's still fine. Like we did a lot together.
Hell yeah.
We worked with Jamie on our first album on Siege of Amida Records as well. So there's a lot of history there. So there's no drama or bad blood or anything like that. Like but it's like we felt like we'd got to a point where we were ready for the next step. Like as a band, like we were ready for the next step. We felt like even though we'd had a good relationship with Unique Leader and we'd done great things together, we felt like we couldn't we were pressed up against a glass ceiling there at the time. Like, do you know what I mean? So in order for us to break through that glass ceiling, we felt like career wise, it was time to move on. And that's it, really. That's it. I mean, we were flirting with the idea of going independent at one point as well. Like, because we were like, oh well, you know, we could do this, we could do that, and then basically Metal Blade gave us a call, and we were like, yo,
this is so much easier.
Yeah, we were just like, okay. Like,
but your previous album, We're Gods, was that like the end of a contract with Unique?
No, the end of the contract was Surreption 2.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah. But we'd also released out of contract, I guess you say, 2 EPs as well. So we more than fulfilled our deal together. But it kind of, like Jay said, it run its course. We got to the end of the contract. We had an offer from Unit Leader. We had an offer from another independent online distributor. And we were kind of like flirting with different ideas, but we didn't really make a decision.
Yeah.
We were kind of like, let's just see how it goes. And then Metal Blade approached us, and we were like,
yeah,
this is the spanner in the works. Let's see what they want.
It's
that was it, really.
You know, one of the biggest labels in the world, and they've built massive careers for small bands such as Cannibal Corpse, as an example. So, and the relationships they tend to build with their bands is something that I find very.
I think we suit the label.
Yeah,
I think Ingested suits Metal Blade because we've always played the long game. Like, we've already been a band for 16 years. We've done 6 or 7 albums.
Yeah.
You know, we have a plan to go on the next 10 years, 15 years. So being on another label that's, you know, has a short-term plan doesn't suit us. We need a home we need somewhere that we can call a home for a long period of time, like what Black Dahlia had, Cannibal Corpse have, Whitechapel, you know. So I think we suit each other in that sense.
I love it. I was so happy. I was proud of you guys. I heard the whispers before because my guitarist, Christian Donaldson, always tends to find his way into your workhouse somehow to talk to me about working with Donaldson. I love to. Whenever I talk to a band that works with Donaldson, I love to get the juice about why you continue to keep working with Donaldson, even though you're tight with Nico from Mallorca. The guy behind Mal, which is a killer little project that Lynn's a part of, that, you know, someone might have saying, oh, Jason sang a song on, and maybe I did too. So talk to me about working with Donaldson again and again, and why you keep going back to
him. I think by this point, his sound is synonymous with our sound. So when we worked together in 2013, it was kind of like, this is a step in the right direction together. And I feel like since 2013, when we did the Revered by No One EP, we've kind of evolved together in a sense. So there's just no reason not to work with anyone else. The thing is he's so easy to work with, in the sense that, you know, we obviously work with Nico for recording purposes, but we've worked with other engineers for recording purposes as well in the UK. We've never actually recorded with Christian. He only mixes at this point. But every time we send him stems, it comes back and we're like, yeah, that's close enough.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. And it's usually him that's going on a tangent forever and ever, like making small detail changes. And we're just like, Christian, when you're happy, just tell us, it's fine.
How about you, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, like, I just love the sound that he gets, and like Lynn said, it's like we've been working together for so long. It's like we've evolved together, like Lynn said. It's like every album that we do together, we get better at writing songs. We get better at everything that we do, and Christian's getting better every single time. And every like when I heard when we got the final mix for We're Only Gods, like, back from him, I was like, oh mate, like, this sounds massive, like this sounds fucking huge, like, and then like you think it can't get any better, and then we got the mix back for Ashes, and we're like, what the fuck? Like, do you know what I mean? And he just manages to fucking nail it, and he knows our sound so well. He knows He knows exactly. Like, it's very rare that I ever have any like proper notes about like effects or whatever on my vocals, because it's like he knows what I want already.
The notes are usually our mistakes that we've left.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, shit, that's not supposed to be there.
It sounds too clean. I can hear my mistakes.
He just knows us.
Exactly.
He knows us so well. He knows us. He knows our sound. He knows the atmosphere. There's just no one better to do Ingested, basically, because he just, like I said, he's got it down. He knows the Ingested sound. He knows the Ingested feel. So yeah,
I think that's incredible. Almost 10 years working with him. So
yeah,
keep the relationship going, and I'm in love with it. So I love working with him. I just did my vocals for the new album, and I hope that you guys one day can have that gift of actually tracking with him and have him, because he's a genius. Honestly,
hang on, you've got a new album.
We have a new album that is going to eventually be finished, but I'm finished my part. But Chris has a lot of work to do. We got to talk about Flo has tracked. Yes, everyone has tracked. We're missing a few things. Elephant in the room. A lot of people are asking about it. Touring is a 3-piece. The band being a 3-piece. Obviously, I've interviewed all of Ingested. The big thing that I was so baffled about you guys was at the time it was 12 years, all original members. That just does not happen. You guys have kept that up. You just cut people out, which is still all original. I like that. You're at 16 years now. Brad and Sam are no longer with the band. Give me the PR answer. What's going on there?
Well, Brad left. When was that? It was like 5 fucking years ago, wasn't it?
I think it was
2019.
Right
your tour was
after
the last
my
tour we did.
Yeah,
he was very. I kept teasing him that he was so quiet, but he was just because he was very unhappy.
He didn't want to be
like an asshole.
He didn't like touring.
Yeah.
He got to the point where it's like, we've been doing it for so long.
It's not for everyone, though, is it?
12 years or something.
It's hard, man.
Yeah. And he just wasn't happy anymore. But it's like me and Brad have a great relationship. Like, me and Brad have known each other. We've been best friends since we were like 11 years old.
Exactly.
Me and Brad. So it's like we still play fucking Dungeons and Dragons every week, and like, we speak to each other every day and shit. So yeah, he just fell out of love with the lifestyle, and obviously we were different. Like you said, we were different beasts back then. We were all fucking drinking. There was fucking drugs flying around. There was all kinds of shit. So it was like
parties and arguments is something that I have written on this paper right here. Fights and someone leaving Summer Slaughter because of a fist fight, and that is one that surprised me when I saw Sam was. You talked about it on the podcast with me, so it's public knowledge on Vox&Hops. When I saw Sam was no longer the band is something that I was like, oh shit, because I know Sam and Sean have been friends for ever and ever.
Yeah,
they loved, hate each other, growing up on the same street, saying who the fuck is that kid skateboarding, and then it ended up being them learning guitar together, trying to one up each other, and now Sam is no longer around. So that makes me sad, because he was fun. Is fun, probably still. He was a big part of the branding of Ingested too. So that's something that I thought about, how you guys are going to pick up that side, because everyone in Ingested has a job, basically. That's why your work, and his was really like the merch, the visual side of things. He did a lot of stuff like that. So talk to me about Sam leaving.
Well, basically, I mean, the long and short of it is like, some people change and some people don't. And basically, there was some personal issues that were going on in his life that basically made his position in the band untenable. So he decided to leave, and that was it, really. I mean, like,
it was difficult though.
It was fucking rough.
It was difficult for everyone, and it was not what we wanted at the time. It was a very, very difficult period, and also the period when he left was before we signed to Metal Blade. So it was like everything was up in the air. It was like, right, we finished our contract with Unit Leader. We got no touring plans. The album's out, but we can't really tour it. Then Sam left. And it was just like, we don't know what to fucking do with this band. Like, where are we going? So we kind of got our shit together as a three and just thought, right, it made us tighter as a three and just thought, you know what, we're just going to power through and do the best we can, really. So yeah, I mean, we've had a live guitarist fill his spot.
Sort of looks like Sam. He sort of looks like him just a little bit.
Like a stretched version.
Yeah, he's taller. Yeah.
But yeah, he's called Ross. He's fucking...
Cheers to Ross for stepping in.
Yeah. He's a shit hot guitar player. He's a shit hot guitar player. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Well, lots of love to Sam, I have to say, and I always had lots of fun with him. I hope he's okay. I'm sending him positive vibes, and I hope that whatever's going on in his life resolves itself positively, and that you guys are still amicable, I hope, because, many years together building something amazing. It's worth still giving each other hugs for, even if he's no longer there with you.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it sounds a bit shit to say, but like like Lynn said, we've become so tight as a unit now, the three of us. Like, we are, if you see us live now, we're a different beast altogether. This is the best we have ever been.
Amazing.
Like, which sounds weird because we've lost a member, but like,
the
proof is in the pudding, man. Like,
very
do you know
good
what I mean?
Bass stuff going on with Dom Grimard, who also fills in for Cryptopsy when Ollie's busy with cattle decapitation. The Last Felony, Ion Dissonance. He helps out Chris with the production stuff that he does for bands. Christian Donaldson, of course, and he did all the bass on your albums for the past 2 albums.
And the spirit of Dom Grimard plays live with us every day.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's awesome. So one day, hopefully, he has played a show with you, right?
He has. He played two.
Played
two. Yeah.
I love him to death. Great dude.
I love Dom.
Great dude. But a three-piece makes sense, especially when you're dividing up the money at the end. I will say that. Mental health. I love talking about mental health. I think it's important. It's come up a lot so far in the conversation. Dark times, addictions, masking as a way to make you feel better was actually making you feel worse. Sorry. How do you make yourself feel better when you're not doing well? What steps do you take to remain positively mental health? Cycling, I imagine, is one answer.
Yeah, I think in general for me, it's just setting goals.
Okay.
So whether it's cycling or going to the gym or something to do with the band, something to do with drumming, whatever it is, I think it's important to set yourself goals with a clean mind, which helps with obviously not drinking, doing drugs, etc. And the thing is, I found that they don't have to be life goals, just achievable goals that you can just set yourself and be like, right, in the next week I want to be able to do this, or in the next month I want to be able to do that. And I feel like it just helps focus your mind, keep it clear, and it fills you with it fills you with progress and feel like you're actually going somewhere. You're not just sat doing the fucking same shit over and over again.
Excellent idea. Little small goals, and that way you feel
it's hard. It's hard though. Nothing in life worth doing is fucking easy. No. It really isn't. And we know that better than anyone with this band. It's just how much we used to tour. It's fucking brutal. And
relentless.
Exactly. And it nearly killed us all, really, because we were fucking in a hole. Like.
But now you're doing every tour I see you getting announced is bigger and better. So something worked.
Yeah, it's a long road. It's been a very steep road, but we're still climbing it.
It's like everyone's all impressed with the success of Lorna Shore, as if they're a new band. What's the secret?
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
They've worked their
10,
asses
15 years of work.
They've worked their asses off. Do you know what? If it was any other band, there's a lot of bands that would happen to that would be like, not jealous, but I'd be like, ugh. But I love those guys so much, and I respect them so much as musicians and people, and their work ethic, that I'm just only happy for them because I'm proud of them, and they're as fucking surprised as anyone that it's happened.
Yeah.
When you speak to them, they're just like, we know what the fuck we're doing. We're just like, just ride that fucking train as long as you can, boys.
Just enjoy the ride at that point.
Yeah.
How about you, Jason? Mental health. What steps do you take to if you're feeling down and out? You don't have weed anymore.
No.
Drinking only made it worse.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I mean, when I'm on tour, like I just try and lose myself in the show. Like the show, like regardless of how shitty I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Like the show will always make me feel better. Like it will always make me feel better. Even if it's a shit show, it'll make me feel better. But when I'm at home and I'm feeling like pretty low or whatever, like I just spend time with my kids and my family.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a really supportive wife. She like supports me in everything that I do. So, you know, I can't like complain about anything really. But I mean, like that's not what depression is, though, is it? It's like sometimes you can't put your finger on why it is that you feel the way that you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just surround yourself with good people that you trust and people that you love. Like yeah, and when we're on tour as well, like it helps that we're a bit closer than we used to be now.
It's funny. It's funny how you guys were together for so long, but it took all these massive obstacles to bring you closer together.
Yeah, because we were fucking idiots.
Yeah, because we were all maniacs.
Now we're like, there was a lot of fighting. I will say that.
Yeah. It was chaos. Like now we're fun. Like,
it was fun.
Now
to
we
watch.
operate. Yeah, it was. I mean, sometimes it wasn't that fun to be involved.
It was fun to be involved.
Sometimes, but like now we operate like a machine.
Yeah,
like we're so focused these days. I don't want to say, we operate like a sole business, because it's not just a business being in a band. It's something unique, You
have to love it.
It's passion. It's love.
It really is.
And it's a gamble. It's you were saying
Absolutely.
Putting goals. It's hard to put goals for the band because you're not in control.
Yeah.
Lorna Shore could have never 5 years ago say, we're going to go through all this shit. We're going to kick out our singer because he's a piece of shit and get a new singer, and he's going to be the fucking coolest singer in the world. They couldn't have done that plan, So it's hard to make plans. You have to love it. You have to enjoy the ride, and you have to be willing to take the ride.
Yeah, because I mean, if you didn't love it, why would you put yourself through this?
Exactly. Because most of the time it's fucking awful.
If you're on tour and you see one of the guys is in a down place, what is your step? Let's say you see Lynn one day, you see Lynn's a bit bummed out. What is the tactic?
Ask him if he's okay, and just be there to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have any advice or anything. You just sometimes it's just all you have to do is just be there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's like sometimes I might feel like I just want to be on my own. And sometimes that might make me feel better, just being completely alone, be away from everybody. And that's that. Sometimes
we know each other well enough as well that we can sense it. It's not like, if Jay feels like that, he doesn't have to come to me and be like, just leave me alone for a bit. I know I'm not a fucking idiot.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Or if I just need, I might just need to just sit with you. Like, I don't need to speak to you or tell you anything or anything. Just being around people might make me feel better in another instance. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it depends on the day and how you're feeling, really. To be honest, it's all fucking peaks and troughs, isn't it? You just again, it's just another wave you have to ride.
We have to. I didn't talk about Sean yet. How is Sean doing? He's got twins. That was a big thing.
Tired. He's tired. That's what he's doing right now.
That's why he's not here.
That's why he's not here.
It's my fault. I couldn't do it a little bit later. I apologize. But I would have loved to have all three of you on.
Nah, he's great though, man. He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Happy. I love it. I'm late. His hair looks good. Tell him that.
Yeah. Going for that.
Well, he's getting married in January. He's getting married in January, and his missus is making him cut it.
Right, Lynn, you're gonna have to grow yours then.
It'll just be around the back and sides. I look like fucking Devin Townsend like 15 years ago.
I love collabs. I've made a lot of collabs. Wake made this collab for At the Gates. You guys did have a beer. Juggernaut Brewing Company made something with cherries, I want to say. Obviously, a beer doesn't make sense for you guys anymore. But if you could make a collab, what would be the perfect collab for Ingested now? Could be a tea, could be a coffee, could be anything. We could be creative together right now.
Yeah, we did tea before, didn't we?
Yeah, we did tea. Yeah, we did tea. We did tea with that.
With Pitch Black North. Yeah,
yeah.
Pitch Black North.
Yeah.
You guys gave me the idea to contact him.
Yeah.
And I did, and I made Cryptop CT, and we have new things in the works as well. So
Oh, that's good.
shout out to Dominic. He's awesome
Yeah.
from Pitch Black
He was
North.
great to
That's
work
true. I
with,
forgot
actually.
about that. Yeah.
I would like a
Um,
milkshake
A milkshake.
because I like milkshakes.
That would be badass. Horrible for your vocals, though.
Yeah, it's for after. It's for after the show, isn't it?
What
love
would
a
be, what would
milkshake.
be what would be the ingested milkshake?
Well, the base of it would have to be chocolate.
Okay.
And then maybe some banana in it.
just vanilla. Just do vanilla.
No, that's boring.
If you
That's not
can't
an
do,
Oh, here's the new ingested milkshake. It's vanilla. Oh, sick.
listen, I've got a theory, right? If you go to someone that sells milkshakes and they can't do a vanilla milkshake right, then it's pointless.
Who
Pointless having
can't
anything else.
do a vanilla milkshake?
Exactly the same when you go
Everyone
to a
can do
pizza
a
place.
vanilla
If they
milkshake.
can't do a margarita pizza well at a pizza place, then forget
is
about
true.
it. What's the point?
That is true.
See?
I typically wrap up with my hangover cures, but obviously that no longer applies here. So what would be the silver lining to the time at home when you weren't allowed to do what you're supposed to be doing? Let's wrap up with that instead. The silver lining of your pandemic. You go first, Jason.
Oh, the silver lining of my pandemic was just spending time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
We're spending time at home with my family
too.
because I mean, even though like now that even though we're a full-time touring band and we're touring all year, I spend more time at home now with my family than I did when I had a full-time job working in a restaurant.
Really? That's interesting then.
Because when you're working in a restaurant or whatever, you're there for fucking. Because I was managing a restaurant, so I was there like fucking 6 days a week,
60
fucking,
hours a week.
Yeah, like fucking, and the rest, fucking 7 a.m. to like fucking 2 in the morning,
Ugh.
and then you do that 6 days a week. It's like you don't see anyone.
Yeah.
Like,
You go home, you sleep, you kiss them in the morning,
that's
and that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Like I'd be home, everybody would be in bed. I'd leave for work, everybody would still be asleep. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like I just wouldn't see him. So, but yeah, like so even though I see him now more than I did when I was working full time, just being at home during the pandemic, like having my family around me was like very comforting because I couldn't do
It's something that we never did. It's a whole summer at home with no festival.
Yeah. It was like summer holidays.
Yeah.
For a year.
It was fun. It was
For 2 years.
2 years.
It was fun at first. But how about you, Lynn? Obviously, beautiful Mallorca.
Yeah,
Can't go wrong there. You're close to Mega. Shout out to Mega. I wanted to bring him up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get to hang out with him. You should hang out with him every day.
He's never fucking here. Like whenever I'm here, he's not here, and vice versa.
Dude.
But I did see him the other week actually because I went to an Ultima show in
Yes.
Mallorca and I saw Flo. Over.
Yes. It was their birthdays.
Yes.
It was their birthday. It was around their birthdays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Silver lining to your pandemic.
Silver lining was watching Liverpool win the league for the first time in 30 years, 100%. Other than that, just getting my shit together, to be honest.
Good for you.
Just getting my shit together, really. Just being mentally and physically fitter.
Good for you.
Better at my instrument. The band's more focused. That's it, really, to be honest. Nothing crazy.
Proud of you guys. The sky's the limits. Sky's the limits. You can make all the plans you want, but it's going to be in the hands of the fans and the industry.
Absolutely.
But you guys are ready. Is what I'm seeing right now, which is amazing.
The thing is, what you understand when you're in a band for a long time, and I'm sure you'll know this as well, is that you can't tell what people think. You just don't know what if they're going to like your stuff or what's the next trend. You just don't know. So you can only write music for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else you can do. And if you don't enjoy it, then what's the fucking point? So
you guys have you're hashed out your identity. I feel it more and more on every release. So just keep being it. Ashes Lie Still, November 4th, Metal Blade Records. Check it out, people. This is an absolute blast hanging out with my two friends that I hadn't seen in a very, very long time. I'm going to say massive cheers to you guys. I appreciate you being with me. This was a huge blast.
Cheers.
Soon, we're going to hang out face to face right after this album comes out because you're coming through here with Lorna Shore.
Yes, we are.
Awarded.
I'll be in Montreal.
Lots of Vox&Hops alumni. It's going to be a lot of fun. Massive. The last show was actually in Montreal.
It is the last show.
I know, yeah.
Cheers to you guys.
So
I'll be talking like this by the end of that tour.
Massive cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care, man.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right today. You know that I love and appreciate that. Man, this was an awesome conversation. It's just unbelievable how 2 years can just disappear and you don't get to hang out with your friends, but as soon as you're back in a room together, immediately back to being excellent friends. I love that. I love Lynn. I love Jason. I miss the rest of the boys in Ingested. Man, I just can't love them enough. I'm so proud of them for what they've accomplished, for becoming clean, for becoming sober, for becoming focused. Ingested are a force to be reckoned with. I just can't wait to see how high they climb now that they are absolutely focused on what's important to them the most. Massive cheers to Lynn and Jason for hanging out with me. I cannot wait to see you when you come through Montreal with Lorna Shore, Aborted, Carcosa, and Of Sulphur. It's going to be a massive night, and I'm so stoked for that. Now, if you enjoyed this Vox and Hops episode, you should sign up to the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast's mailing list. You can get it on my website, voxandhops.com. That's VOXANDHOPS.com. When you do that, you shall receive one email a month containing all of the details that has been happening recently in the world of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. You get to see which episodes I dropped that month. You get to see which episodes I have coming up in the next month. You also get to hear about any projects I have in the works before I announce them to the public, such as the very cool 4-year anniversary collabs that are coming out for brews all across North America. I'm very stoked about that. You also get to see which albums the Vox and Hops album review crew have reviewed recently, and you'll get to see which albums Jerry Monk, the metal architect himself, has added to the Brutal Awakenings playlist. Trust me, there's just so much going on in the world of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. I'd hate for you to miss a single thing, so please sign up to the mailing list. The Vox and Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts. I hope you have a killer next few days. I have another episode coming up this Friday, but until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.